Travis Wayne Goodsell. This will most likely be uploaded tomorrow morning if I remember. Need to remember to make it up and save it so it can be uploaded. But in the church news today for Easter, the church was on CBS Sunday morning concerning an inside exclusive look of the Washington D.C. temple that's finishing up being remodeled and will be open to the public soon, and there'll be open houses and etc. And that's the pattern for the church, is that they build a temple and then invite government leaders, others in the community, even other religions, to tour the temples inside. And I've been through 2 or 3 in my lifetime, and they have you put on little white booties so that you protect the carpet walking around. And there's an organized structure. You have to have, it depends, sometimes tickets, other times appointments, that you go and you sign in and show up and with your ticket, and then you wait for your turn to go through, as they have waves of people going through the temple. And you go through all the rooms. You don't get to see the sacred altar where children are slaughtered. Just a joke. But I remember that the reason why the Catholic Church built such elegant, elaborate designed cathedrals was to cause awe in people. And that was a deceptive tactic by which people then associate the beauty, the wealth, and the artistic elegance as proof of God's existence, or having a feeling of faith in God from that. And the church likewise is mimicking that Catholic presentation, as Washington D.C. with the Capitol building and the White House. They specifically built those to intimidate people coming to our shores. And so Utah's Capitol building, for example, it's built on the hill, everybody can see it, it becomes an intimidating show of force for those who come here, and you soon find out, if you go against the church, that they will come down on you hard. And so yeah, the church is following right along with that scare tactic, as people are supposed to look inside and go, wow, this is so beautiful, artistry, oh, these are national treasures, oh, we need to join the church and pay our tithing so we can be worthy to enter the temple. And again, with my Easter message, when you have a false deity that you present to people, it's not about how having a false deity, as long as it gives you peace and happiness and and hope. It's a false hope. It's a false peace. Those are fraudulent emotions that they're trying to trigger in people. And when things go wrong, that's when you realize that giving false hope is not good. Telling people little white lies is not good. And when you have people that are suffering in poverty, they go through a temple like this and go, how can they be so wealthy, and I, as a faithful Mormon for all my life, have struggled in poverty? That exposes the church as frauds. And when a loved one dies, people end up blaming God. Why did you do this to me? Why did you take them so early in life? When a loved one is not among the elderly, but a younger person, even infants who die, people automatically go to blame God rather than understanding from the doctor the cause of death. And it's so heart-wrenching to see the church so wealthy and flaunting their wealth on CBS, so that all the world can see how wealthy the church is. When I don't see CBS going to the streets of Salt Lake City looking at all the homeless. And it's horrifying. So Bednar's doing a little interview with the guy as well. God. These guys are claiming to be spokesmen for God, for Jesus. And yet they won't lift a penny. They may lift 2 mites, to follow the example of the widow and 2 mites. But yeah, everybody knows the scriptures. You can't be wealthy and have poor, because if they're poor, you're neglecting the poor if you're wealthy. That's how it is. But the Mosiah 11, talking about King Noah, and it came to pass that King Noah built many elegant and spacious buildings, and he ornamented them with very fine work of wood, and all manner of precious things, of gold, and of silver, and of iron, and of brass, and of ziph, and of copper. And he also built him a spacious palace, and a throne in the midst thereof, all of which were of fine wood, and ornamented with gold and silver, and precious things. And he caused his workmen should work all manner of fine work within the walls of the temple, of fine wood and copper and brass. And so on the seats which were set apart for the high priests, which were above all the other seats, he did ornament with pure gold. He caused a breastwork to be built upon them. And it keeps on going. A tower near the temple. All of that. When you realize King Noah neglects his people, his wickedness sets the example for the people who believe that, oh, I'm going to follow his example because that's what Jesus wants. So when the church supports Brad Wilcox by silencing the news, silencing the Black Youth Student Union at BYU, Mormons get emboldened to be racist. Because the church is. So they have to follow the church's example. And so racism, sexism, bigotry, hatred of the poor, neglect of the poor, the sick and the needy, Mormons just follow the prophets' examples, saying that's what Jesus wants. That's what love means. That's what it means to be righteous. And we know that wealth does not equal righteousness, and yet here in Utah there is a division of the wealthy who say, yeah, I'm prosperous because I'm rich, or because I'm loyal or faithful. And the poor are segregated here in Utah, as they are in all places. The housing is poor quality, and so the poor are the only ones who live there. And the rich are able to afford the nicer homes. And there's not much in the middle anymore. So it's sad that they will not come out with the truth, that they keep pushing and perpetuating the lie upon all Mormons and upon the world now. I mean, they just came out getting slammed for their exceedingly great wealth that they refuse to share with other people. In Australia, with the tax evasion, that I'm still waiting to see if there's going to be a court case on that. Maybe they threaten the leaders down there to stay away. I mean, yeah, they are very lovely buildings, but that doesn't mean the Spirit's there. Mormons likewise equate spirituality with elegant beauty. A nice, lavish home with pictures of Jesus, Nelson, and family, and temples. And Mormons assume that, okay, now the Spirit's here, because we've put up the necessary idols around the home to grant the presence of the Spirit. That's exactly what the ancients did for idol worship. They carved out statues of the deities and then held blessings and gave offerings to the statues, believing that they would then be blessed by that deity. And the Book of Bel, it's incorrectly considered the two books as one, Bel and the Dragon, but I can guarantee you they're separate books. But Daniel is told to come into the Holy of Holies with Nebuchadnezzar, and Nebuchadnezzar shows that the food is eaten every night, and so therefore the god Bel is real, and Daniel should worship him. And so they lay the sand on the floor and they seal it up, and in the morning the king unseals it and the food is gone. But Daniel goes, oh wait, there's footprints in the sand. It's Jesus! They follow it. They find a secret passageway, and the tunnel leads to the camp of the priests. The priests had purposely deceived Nebuchadnezzar into thinking that Bel was real when they were eating all the food themselves. And the priests have to eat that way. That's how they get paid, is by getting fed by the offerings that are given. But having deceived the king was what Nebuchadnezzar was pissed and had them murdered, and appointed new priests in their stead. And so then Nebuchadnezzar then adopts Yahweh as the one true Christ. Yeah, he's not Jesus, is he, guys? different religions have different Christs, and Joseph Smith had a completely different religion with a different Christ than what the current church claims. But yeah, it's idolatry to think that because the temple is so beautiful, so clean, so wealthily, elegantly made, that it is a place for the Spirit. You can be on the streets, and as long as you can recognize the inspiration, the still small voice, doesn't matter how loud the traffic is, it doesn't matter the noise and the bustle, it doesn't matter the decorations. If you know the voice and you hearken to that voice, doesn't matter. Spirit isn't automatic only in temples. It isn't only automatic when you're on your mission. It isn't only automatic if your home has pictures of the temple on it. It isn't only automatic if you're reading your scriptures rather than watching TV. You can hear the Spirit while watching TV. You can be inspired. There are plenty of us who have borne witness that we've been inspired while watching the Super Bowl. You know, the tale of good versus evil. But if you don't know the voice, you're not following the right Christ. But the church is purposely leading you down the wrong path, because it has nothing to do with any of this. You could have just a simple, for baptisms for the dead. You can do it in a river. You can do it in your bathtub if it's big enough, or a swimming pool. It doesn't matter. Symbolically, yes, a temple. But King Noah purposely took the original temple of Nephi and elaborated on it, decorated it with expensive stuff, all because he was wicked. Where simple and humble, big difference. So when you compare Joseph Smith's Kirtland Temple with Brigham Young's Salt Lake Temple, big difference. Something for you to think about, and hope that you make the right choices in life, because being brainwashed for evil is not good for you in the long run, even though you may think it's good for the short term. As long as nothing happens, you think you're in the right. But once something happens, all of a sudden you go through a faith crisis. I personally would recommend you trust the Book of Mormon, trust the scriptures, because even the Bible can teach you that this is wrong.